YouTube, it's your girl sheilaj, and I am back at you with another video for today. If you are new here, welcome. If you are not new here, welcome back. And in today's video, we are doing my class presentation to make sure that I fulfill my less than 15 minutes class presentation, and also so that I can get comfortable with my presentation. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Okay, this is my class presentation on time. And the reason why I wanted to do a presentation on time is because I really feel like time at its core is something that we all have in us. Like, we have our cardinal clocks and everything, and I really feel like the whole structure of time and being at a certain place at a certain time, and people thinking that they don't have time to do the things that they want in life, is really kind of a false evidence and false truth. And I feel like if we learn how to slow ourselves down, then we can learn how to center ourselves and be more mindful, and to be able to focus on one task at a time and live more meaningful lives. If we learn how to truly appreciate time for what it is, and understanding that time is an illusion and whatnot. This is my table of contents, and this is my introduction. Time is considered as absolute, flowing, always in the same way and everywhere in the universe, until Einstein entered the frame and told us that time is relative to the subject and observer. Time is the epicenter of all religions, and it is the single greatest mysterious creation of God, which is true, which means that we are all connected. Most people don't appreciate the value of time until it's gone. Others place more importance on money than time, since time has no worth to them. But I truly feel like the greatest thing that's more important to anything is time. Even if time has given them a chance to gain money, they don't even realize it. Furthermore, time has brought us great prosperity, joy, great sorrow, and heartbreak. Power of time. They felt they were the lords and masters of their time and the entire globe, and they acted as if they were. On the other hand, they have no idea that the time they have to do their task is very limited. And I feel like everyone thinks that they have to do something right now. They have to get married right now. They have to be married by a certain time. They have to have kids by a certain time. And everybody feels like they're running out of time to do things that they love and want to do. But in reality, I feel like we have all the time in the world. Time is one of the few constant things in our lives. Time has the power to transform you from a king to a beggar in seconds. Relation of time with space. Time and space are intertwined into each other's fabrics to the extent that less than 3 years after Einstein first introduced his special theory of relativity, Minkowski demonstrated their unity by saying that if you wish to go through space from any one point to another, you can only reach that point in some time in the future. To sum it up, if you wish to move through space, you must move through time as well. And I was watching a YouTube show called Explained, and in that show they had an episode about time in there, and actually a scientist, an astronaut actually lived in space for like a good year, and he actually came back 6 seconds younger than his twin brother, and he looks younger too compared to his brother, so that's really funny. Journey of time. If that is the simple definition of time, then let's imagine we are all born from the same atoms of the Big Bang, which is essentially true. Being connected to our other cosmic relatives means that we are as much part of space and the universe as it is of us. But a day on Mars isn't 24 hours. How can the sun's tug on a planet define time? It seems that time is relevant to all of us by some stretch. Linear passage of time. The linear passage of time in the Minkowski demonstration seems to be depict of a general understanding of time that is generally accepted by most people as how time passes. The plausible deduction from this is that most people consider themselves constantly on a downward roller coaster towards the end of their time. In fact, our perception of time has such an impact on our lives that we often feel this roller coaster speeding up more and more as time passes. And since time is more or less a perception, if we change our perception of time, I feel like we have the potential to maybe live longer. This is just a theory of mine. Complain about time. People complain that the time consistently speeds up with increasing age. It seems that the older people become, the faster time passes subjectively. Since our finitude is integral to our being, most people start to believe that the future that should have priority in thinking time and not the present. And I feel like since time is based on perception, if we change our perception, then time itself has the potential to change as well once we change our perception of time and stop complaining about time. If we treat time as a good thing, then time itself will start to treat us differently. But again, this is just a theory of mine. Mindfulness. Time can end up being conscious at any moment just by paying attention to the prompt experience. Think about your own selves as an everlasting witness and just observe the moment. And if you notice your mind drifting to the future, keep bringing yourself back to the now. Summary. It's vital to remember that mindfulness isn't a goal due to the fact that the objectives have to do with the future. Yet you do have to establish the objective of focusing on what's occurring at the present moment. And take a deep breath. If you're aware that that sensation now, as you read this, you're staying in the moment. It's not a destination. Conclusion. In the end, we might conclude that time is God's greatest gift. In addition, there is the proverb that time is money. This statement states that time is of the utmost importance and value, which in my opinion is very, very true. And last but not least, I just have a quick video that I found on YouTube that explains a little bit more about time and how I feel that time is an illusion.
How do you distinguish between past, present, and future? Is there really an order to time? Does it only move forward? Does it move in any direction at all? Stop the clock, abandon all assumptions, and try to stay calm. This mind-blowing experiment will only take a few minutes, whatever that means. This is What If, and here's how time could be an illusion. In 1915, Albert Einstein published his general theory of relativity, which changes, and will change the way we perceive time. In this groundbreaking theory, he proposed that the laws of physics are the same for all non-accelerating observers. This basically explains why, if you were to watch a car drive past you, you would interpret the car's passengers as moving at the same speed as the car, since their speed is relative to your position as an observer on still ground. Meanwhile, inside the car, the passengers feel like stationary objects, since their motion matches the car's motion relative to the outside world. But while Einstein's theory of relative motion could be applied to all objects in the universe, he also realized that one exception to relativity was light. Light always moves at a constant speed. These two principles led Einstein to conceive of a link between time and space, also known as space-time. And one of its tricky implications is that the perception of how time passes can be different between two observers, depending on how much faster one is moving compared to the other. So, if it's possible for two observers to have two accurate perspectives of time's passing, but for those perspectives to be different, whose clock is right and whose is wrong? Oddly enough, they're both right. After all, the fact that different time zones exist are enough proof that your watch and someone's watch across the world will read different times every second of the day. We're inclined to think of the passing of time as objective or universal, since humans have all more or less agreed on the same system to organize our busy lives and to be on the same page with our neighbors, either next door or a few countries over. But while time is a convenient tool for keeping track of the past, present, and future, the true nature of time is trickier to grasp once you realize that the past, present, and future could all exist at once. When you look up at the sky, you might be able to point out Proxima Centauri. After the Sun, Proxima Centauri is the closest star to Earth, and it's only about 4 light years away. So the light you see now is actually 4 years old in our time. If Proxima Centauri exploded, we wouldn't know about it until 4 years later. That's because the speed of light is constant, no matter where you are in the universe. Another thing you need to know is, the faster you move, the slower time does. This explains how astronaut Scott Kelly spent a year in space and came back to Earth 13 milliseconds younger than his twin. Now, with these two examples, let's put an astronaut on a planet that's 4 light years away. That means his present is unfolding 4 years ahead of you. Anything you do now on Earth is already in his past. Put simply, the past, present, and future all exist at once. Now, before you have an existential crisis, there's a theory that might make living in the past, present, and future all at once a little easier. It's called moving spotlight theory, and it basically argues that there is only one absolute present, which changes moment by moment as if a spotlight is moving over it. So with that information, you can begin to see how the passage of time might be an illusion. There's no single objective past, objective present, or objective future. The illusion of time is crafted by our memories and our experiences and our upcoming plans, which help us organize our life into a neat sequence of events. But depending on where you are or how fast you're moving, that sequence will be very, very different. So whether you're new age or nostalgic, or if you just prefer the present moment, don't worry, there's a place for you somewhere in the universe. It might take you hundreds of years to get there, but if you move fast enough, you'll get there in no time.
And these are my references, and I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you.